Dr. Bojat from Atlanta Chiropractic, your posture doctor, and today we're going to talk about neuroplasticity. Okay, neuroplasticity or brain plasticity or neuroplasticity, okay, is your neuronal network in your brain and its ability to change through growth and organization. Okay? So, if somebody's right-handed, right, and they're always reading their paper with the right hand, and and they start reading it from left to right, that neural network's got to change if they go to their left hand and actually switch it opposite, right? So it goes from right hand to left hand. Now reading from left to right, you're going to read from right to left. Okay? So your neurology or that neural network's got to adapt because it's not used to the habitual way of what you've been doing. So it's change, right? So first and foremost, you have to understand we as human beings are nothing more than habitual patterns, right? Those habitual patterns have been done what? Over and over and over again, repetitively. And it's been ingrained or imprinted as a blueprint in our neural network in our brain because of that. So my question to you is, who decided to choose that habit? Okay? So in most instances, we as individuals are programmed by what? Our teachers, by our parents, by our friends, okay? In the first 3, 4, 5 years of our lives. And then after that, as we start to mature, then we take responsibility for that program. Okay? But the challenging thing is, those early programs, and depending on how much they were imprinted or impressed on your neural network in your brain tissue, okay, the harder they're going to be to change as a consequence to that. Okay? So think of your brain almost like a muscle, right? That muscle can be conditioned through workouts, okay? And you can program the workout you want to condition it to, okay? With what? Repetition and commitment to that repetition and that workout as a consequence to that. Okay? So that's a form of dynamic change that we do from a neurological standpoint. Like I said, right? If everybody does everything on their right side and then all of a sudden they change it to the left side, what's got to happen? That neurological network's got to kind of what? Switch gears. When it switches gears, right, there's an opening for you to implant a new program. Because essentially you're scrambling that neural network in your brain because it's thinking about this new pattern versus the old pattern. And when it's thinking about it, that's when we can actually make a what? An actual deposit or imprint into those patterns. Okay? So people with a lot of money, like marketing people, already do this, right? So they'll make you watch an actual advertisement and then they'll throw something in totally from left field, right? So you're watching something about a family and then they'll throw in a goat. And you turn your head and you look at the goat and you go, what? Right? And when you're going what and your mind's confused and those neural networks are firing up like crazy trying to figure things out, then they actually what? Imprint into your head by Coca-Cola. Right? So they already know the method, the actual procedural method in order to do it, because they're already doing it to us. And my premise is, why don't we do it to ourselves? Why don't we take responsibility and start directing ourselves where we want to go? Okay? And in essence, that's what an adjustment does. An actual adjustment reboots that neural network. Every time we adjust you, we're rebooting that neural network. And every time we reboot it, it's going to play sharper. It's going to play quicker. It's going to integrate that information that it's dealing with that much better. Okay? And remember, our neurology is always present time consciousness, right? It's constantly adapting to that point in time. So what you were thinking about 2 seconds ago is totally different from what you're thinking about now. And that's adaptability, or that dynamic capacity of that neurology is what makes it so powerful, right? That's exactly why a pill, a potion, a lotion, even a vaccination doesn't have any capacity the way our neurology does. Especially this neuroplasticity. Okay? So, again, right? It's literally changing a pattern that you're used to a new pattern. And while you're changing into that new pattern, or teaching, right, or working out your body to that new pattern, that you have the availability to what? Reprogram yourself in that confusion. So in that confusion creates a gap for you to plug that in. And once you plug it in, then it's getting in between your ears into that brain muscle. And once it gets into that brain muscle, then it'll start reflecting out into your physical world. Okay? But it's an inside-out job, like most things are with us. Right? And people don't realize that. And it's a real simple principle once you start to understand it. Okay? So, again, right? Let's just take jumping on your right foot. Let's say you're right hand dominant. So jumping on your right foot's no big deal. So if you jump to your left foot, what's got to happen? You got to shift gears in your head. Right? And by the same token, if you're right hand dominant and you're always using your right hand to do things, what if you shift to left hand? So now you shift everything from right side to left side, and you're overloading that neurology, or that neural network in that brain. And as soon as you overload it, it starts growing, it starts changing, it starts what? Reorganizing. So you're kicking yourself out of that pattern. And when you kick yourself out of the pattern, that's what gives us the opening to make what? Change. Which is literally what we want to do. Right? We're only locked in most instances in regards to what we do or what we don't do by this habitual habits, or these habitual patterns. We want to create pliability, and the pliability is created when we can get out of the box. And once we get out of the box, then we can do something different than that box. This neuroplasticity is a way to establish that. And once you understand it, once you get the principles behind it, it provides us a whole new way of downloading and creating a workout for this brain tissue as a consequence, right? I'm sorry, right? Not right leg, right? Left leg. Not right hand, left hand, right? So let's do something really different. And here's my homework, or my challenge to you. You always get up in the morning on the right hand side of the bed. Get up on the left hand side of the bed. Right? Something different. How about you go to work? Oh, excuse me, it's the virus, right? But how about when you get up after breakfast and you sit at the dining room table and you're doing your computer stuff, and you always sit at the top of the table? Why don't you sit at the side of the table? Why don't you sit across from where you used to sit and start changing your positions? Okay? So again, different activities to create growth an organization in this lid or that tissue, that neural network. And once you're stimulating that neural network, you're stimulating different patterns. And once you're getting stimulating different patterns, you're stimulating different outcomes. Okay? There is nothing more powerful than our own neurological network. And in essence, AI is exactly what they're trying to do, right? They're copying our neurological networks. Okay? And they want us out of our neurological networks because they know how powerful we are as individuals. Okay? And what I'm sharing with you is to utilize some of that power for your benefit versus anybody else's benefit to move you forward in order for your growth and for your maturity as a consequence to that. Okay? But a physical workout is really dynamic in regards to what you can do, right? So I'm going to get into it in with another clip in regards to actual neuroplasticity and exercise. Okay? But let me share with you in regards to one simple way, right? So just these discs are real simple. Okay? Because what do? They're not static, right? You sit on it, this disc moves. When it moves, you can't get in a static position, right? Meaning you can't get stabilized because there's constant motion. When there's constant motion, it's stimulating those mechanoreceptors in that neurology to make those changes to those patterns in your blueprint, right? So the more you can create dynamic input into your normal physical activities, the more you're going to change those patterns, and the better you change those patterns, the better you're going to change your outcomes. Okay? So we're going to start working this a little bit more. We're going to give you some exercises, some ways to work this as far as exercise is concerned. But again, check out neuroplasticity. It's something very interesting. It's close to home, and you own it. That's the premise. When you can start grasping this principle and seeing this principle, it becomes very powerful in regards to your change and your progress in regards to the direction of where you want to go versus where somebody else wants to go. Okay? So, again, I'm Dr. Bojack, your posture doctor. Love to see you. Love to check you out. And to get that neuroplasticity revved up in your body and your nervous system, please give us a call at 781-GET-WELL, 781-438-9355. Look forward to seeing you. Have a Titanic Thursday. God bless. Enjoy.